So a dog's nose is its most valuable asset to me. Intelligence being a close second. I can see game better than a dog probably. I can't smell game better than a dog. So when I'm training dogs, I'm paying attention to how I can use their weapon best, help them use their best weapon more effectively to find game faster and learn the game faster. And to do that, I borrow from what I live and die by, bow hunting mountain whitetails here in the Ozarks, and that's paying attention to prevailing wind directions and thermal air currents. And those transition over very, very well to the tree dog world, to any dog world actually. And the main thing that I try to stay aware of is when I'm out looking in the woods, I try not to look at the woods, the mountains, wherever I'm at, from my point of view, which is visual based. Oh, that looks good over there. That looks good over there. That's important. You can see squirrels. You can walk your dog toward them squirrels. But I really try to look at it through the eyes of my dog, which is to say through its nose. A dog and the deer, they see the world through their nose, just like we do with our eyes. Everything is scent based, primarily scent, sensory, however you want to say that. It's all based around their nose, whereas we walk through the world looking at everything. They smell first, look second. We look first, and I don't know what order we smell in, but think of it that way. And so the prevailing wind direction is just simple as it sounds. The wind's out of the east that day, so you got wind blowing this way. Okay, it makes sense. Start your dog here. Your dog's naturally going to want to hunt into the wind. If there's animals here, he's going to smell them better, versus if you start here and you start walking this way, your dog's going to want to run back around and you're going to be fighting your dog for direction, and you're really not setting your dog up well there. But the other side of it, especially if you're in hilly terrain, it's almost more important than prevailing wind direction, and that's thermal air currents. And all that is if my hand here was a mountain, this being the ridge top and this being the face. In the mornings when the sun starts hitting this hillside, it warms up the ground, which warms up the air, and it causes the air to go up the mountain. Or the rise. It doesn't take very much of a rise, y'all. 50 feet of elevation can get thermals. And then the same thing in the evening. The air cools down, the sun goes down, the ground starts to cool, the air starts to cool, and that cooler air starts pulling down the mountain that way. If you have a cloudy day, you don't have as much warm thermals going up. It's pretty neutral. It's actually more of a downward thermal effect. But when you have sun on the hills, it causes the ground to warm and causes the air to warm, and it causes it to move. That's really important when you're running a dog. So if I'm squirrel hunting, I'm on this mountain, you got your ridge right here, and I want to run my dog, and it's the right time of day, which here in Arkansas where I'm at, I can typically count on thermals starting to move uphill if it's sunny about 8:45 in the morning. And so I can get out and I can walk over to this ridge and use my little, save the cotton balls out of your pill bottles, or just go to Walmart and buy a big bag of cotton balls, and you can release this. I don't know how well you can see that, but that's going to ride an air current very well, very far. It's cheap and it's really effective, and I'm constantly dropping them when my dogs are running to figure out how I can move to help that dog stay into the wind. So I've got my ridge, I'm going to run my dog. It makes way more sense. I can run my dog. Let's say the prevailing wind direction's coming this way, and then I got thermals moving uphill. So there's a spot right here where those meet, and I can turn my dog out there. And now my dog can run, and it can wind check that whole ridge top there and smell this whole half of the valley, this whole side of the valley as it runs down that hill. If I start my dog in places like that, it's going to help him find game a lot faster. Same thing goes if we have at nighttime, and let's say I'm coon hunting, and now I got a valley right here. Well, I can run my dog down on the bottom of this, and he can check both hillsides. He's got those downward thermals coming down, versus a guy who just gets out on top, because that's where the parking lot is, and he starts running his dog on top. Okay, you might get these prevailing wind directions, but let's pretend the wind's coming straight down the valley. You could drop your dog in that creek drainage, leash him down there and turn him out down there. And now he can smell everything on both sides of him and from up ahead. So he's got he's got a whole peninsula of scent right there working for him. That dog is going to find game a whole lot faster than the guy who just turned his dog out and said, let's go on top. So really pay attention to that. Take these cotton balls in the areas you hunt. Go drop little strands of cotton, walk around, drop it, see how the air moves. It's pretty black and white, but it's also different in each area. You know, there's areas that I deer hunt that I know I have let's say a southwest wind, and due to wind mapping, I go in there and actually scout it out. Like, well, I go see what the thermals actually do to that wind direction, and it totally changes it. So I have to set up, you know, completely different for those deer. If I'm just like, well, the wind's out of the west, so they're going to approach from the east. Nope, those thermals bend that wind around. If you pay attention to that kind of stuff, you're going to help your dog be a lot more successful.